What's up, everyone? Like, comment, subscribe to the bot. We're gonna learn how to make clothes.
Yo, I opened a new credit card in January and just look at these payments, dude. I got fucking 5,000, 8,000, 6,000, and then yesterday I paid one for 10,000, which isn't the end of the world because this year we're at around basically 100K so far. So it's fine, but it's still just fucking gross. Anyways, new video. Today I'm going to be going over the 3 big things that got my brand from around 5 to 6K a month to consistently doing at least 30 or 40 every time my site is open. And I know everyone's case is different, but I do strongly believe in these strategies. I started my brand when I was in school. I don't have any fashion or e-com experience. I wasn't a creator beforehand or anything. I've taken my brand to where it is today, basically just as a nobody. And I think anyone can do it, which is why I want to talk about it in this video and go over the big things that I did. And if you want help with your own brand, I have a community that goes through basically all the steps to scale your brand up the same way that I did. It's the exact strategies that I used to get to 6 figures. So if you want to look into that, it's in the description. If not, I don't know, man, up to you. So jumping straight in, here's the Shopify. In May of 2024, I was doing, $6,000 in sales. In April, we did around 4.8. And in June, when I first started doing these big strategies I'm about to talk about, we did 42K. And in July, our website was pretty much closed the entire month. I think it was only open for a couple days the first week, so not as much. And then August, we just did 1 restock. We didn't drop anything new. We did another 26K. So clearly, these strategies I'm about to go over work. If you want to take a look at what we're doing now, February, we did 45K, January, 44. But I want to preface this and say, this is what works for my specific situation. I think with every person's brand, it's a little bit different, but as long as you're doing one of these things, or better yet, all 3 of them, you're going to see a lot more success than you're seeing now. So straight into it, the 3 big things that I did that got my brand from $6,600 to around $42,000 in just a month is focusing on your specific niche, personal branding, and influencer marketing. It sounds really simple, and honestly, I think it kind of was. I think people tend to overthink a lot of this shit when it comes to how to get your brand from around 0 sales to a 500 sales a month, because basically all you're doing is just making a product and then getting as many people to see that product as possible. All the work you're really doing is just getting as many eyes on your brand as you can get, and then you do that through things like organic, ads, influencer, even boots on the ground, pop-ups and things like that. More people looking at your product means more sales. I think it is that simple, and people just tend to overthink it because that's the entire formula that really matters when you're starting out. When you're a new brand, the most important thing is just getting new customers. You don't have any returning customers or any retention to really work on because no one's bought from you yet. You just need to work on getting those first eyes on your brand and getting them to buy. Obviously, you need to have good product, you need good customer service, but really the most important thing right now is just getting as many eyes and as much traffic as possible. Getting specific though, the first thing you need to do is focus on your niche. This is probably the most important part of the process because it affects everything from the clothes you design, how you run your social media, how you do your email marketing, how you do SMS. Everything depends on this first step. I see a lot of you guys start brands and just make whatever you think is cool, or just make these shitty logo designs, which just doesn't work anymore. There's too many brands in the market, and if you're not standing out, you're never going to see any success. Think of your niche as your target customer. Who are they? What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? What do they do for work, or are they in school? What kind of clothes do they wear? The more specific you can get here, the better, because everything you do from a design and marketing perspective is targeted at this person. My target customer was Asian American college students that used to be or still are sneakerheads. I was one of those people, and I know sneakerheads are willing to wear designs that are a little bit louder, but don't go too far into the whole fashion scene. I'm not trying to make clothes for super fashion scene people or the big pants Uniqlo guys. I have a very specific market in mind, which is why a lot of my clothes are very Asian coded. And even my marketing, my last drop was entirely based on Chinese New Year, and all of our marketing was also based on that. And I know a lot of you guys are scared of niching down too much, but that's really fucking stupid. A good brand has a specific target customer in mind and communicates to them through their designs, emails, social media, and even the influencers they choose to work with. You're never at risk of being in a niche that's too small because of 2 specific reasons. 1, every niche is way bigger than you think. I saw a brand recently make a beanie that had the puffle from Club Penguin on it, and it sold out the first hour of the drop. Your target group is always way bigger than you might think it is. That's why there's millions and millions of furries, but I've never seen a furry. You can't base your understanding of your market just on what you see in your own personal life, because if you do that, you're always going to underestimate the size. Never underestimate the size. And 2, you're not only going to get sales from your niche. Not every customer you get is going to fit that target customer profile, but by talking to one specific person with your brand, you get a lot of other people on the outer rings. If this circle is my target customer, there's a circle outside of it of people who are similar but not exactly the same as this person. person, and then a circle around that the same way. And it keeps zooming out over and over. Like, I get most of my sales from younger Asian American people, like my initial target market, but I also get a ton of sales from white customers. The first thing I did when I started my brand, before I made a logo, before I even did my first design, all I did was think about who my target customer was. And by doing that, I had an idea for the designs I wanted to make. I had themes for my collections, and I even knew the influencers that I had to reach out to. So the very first thing you need to do is think about this target niche. And second is personal branding. Basically, I make content myself, which I only really started doing after I started my brand. I saw those influencers that start brands where they already have like 100K followers, and I thought like it's really easy for them. And with how many creators there are now, like it can't be that hard. I'll just do it myself. There's also this huge rise of founder-led brands now. Basically, brands that do a ton of their marketing through the founder. That's brands like Trico and Mode. Mode is basically in every single piece of content that Trico makes, and they've been doing super well for years now. Carolcraft is another example. Every single piece of content on their page is just Carol living her life, and they're doing super well. They have like 300K followers now. And you don't have to make complicated content. Like, my life is super boring. I just sit at my desk and I talk about my designs and what I was doing to prepare for my drop. I didn't even have any equipment. Like, I have a mic now, but before I was just using my friend's phone as a camera and like my personal phone as the mic. We're in a weird time now where it's a lot easier for the average person to build a following on social media because people want to see more genuine, organic content, not the super edited stuff like Mr. Beast and all those people. I don't think you have to do personal branding to be successful, but it did make a very big difference for me. I made this video in May, which has 600,000 views on Instagram. It's around 900,000 views on TikTok, and it got my website around 40,000 visitors without spending a single dollar on ads, which is super important when you're on a budget and you can't be throwing a lot of money around. Also, I know these numbers look really good and you might think like I just got lucky on my first ever post, but I was making content for a long time before this. I posted around 30 different times before I even made this first video. I just took them all down because they weren't doing that well, but it takes a while to learn how to make content. You just have to be consistent with it. If you want to start with doing personal branding, you should try to look for a series that you can do consistently, kind of like how I did. This series is the big one that blew me up, but I did like 2 before this that just didn't work out. And I know a lot of people make the excuse they don't have time to make content, but I was only posting once a week and my video format is very lazy. I think editing my videos only takes like an hour. Filming the video takes me like 10 minutes. If you're willing to make a video every single day, you'll probably see success faster than I did, but you don't need to do that. As long as you're consistent, that's the most important thing. And last is influencer marketing. I talked about this in my last video, but getting influencers to wear your product is basically your way to get traffic onto your page and also get social proof at the same time. It also gives you things to post on your account and options to run ads on. Like, it covers so many bases at once. Influencer marketing has always been a huge strategy for my brand, and we put a lot of time and money into trying to get the biggest influencers that we can to wear it, but also into the research on getting people who maybe don't have a big following, but we know that they resonate well with our audience. Any influencer you send clothing to is only valuable if they actually align with your product. Like, if I send this Viet Cong shirt to a girl that only wears dresses and crop tops, I'm not going to get any sales. I probably won't even get a follow, honestly. If you know anything about your niche, you should already know a lot of the big influencers in the space, which is the first place you should be reaching out to, because you want to make sure that your clothing aligns with the type of content that creator is making. A big strategy that I did that worked really well for my brand is I would find an influencer that I knew I wanted to reach out to, and I would look at their follower list and pick out just like a random person. Once I had someone figured out, I would look at who else they followed and just get an idea of the other influencers in the space where I know the audience overlaps. There's this idea that it takes 7 different touch points for a customer to actually buy a product. Basically, they need to see your product in 7 different ways before they make any purchases. The way that a lot of big brands do that, because they have a ton of money, is just running a bunch of different advertisements. But since I started my brand with very little money, that isn't an option. So the better way that you can do that is by making sure your influencers actually overlap with their audiences, even if they don't make content that immediately looks like it's in the same niche. Like, this follower strategy is exactly what I did to not only find big influencers, but also start to find smaller and up-and-coming creators that we could reach out to that were a lot easier to access. Most people give up on influencer marketing because it's harder than they realize. So if you're only sending out 10 DMs and calling it a day, you're never going to get shit. The rule that I always follow is I assume only 5% of my DMs will ever get opened. And of that 5%, only 10% of those people will actually accept a gift and post it, because I'm not paying them and they're not on contract. They don't owe me anything. And if you break it down like that, if I want 7 people to post my brand, I need to send out 1,400 DMs, which most people never get close to. Okay, you probably don't need to send out that many, but it's important to be realistic instead of thinking like your DM is the one that Lil Baby's gonna randomly open and fuck with. Like, don't be an idiot. But yeah, Those are the 3 big things I did to 7x my sales in just a month. I made clothes for a specific target customer, I made personal content that led up to my drop, and I reached out to as many influencers as I could in my space. When I break it down like that, it sounds easy because it honestly was pretty easy. I think before I was just being dumb and lazy. And I'm not making this video to shit on you if your sales are under 10K a month, because I was there before too, and I just want to share what I did to get out of that slump, because you can get stuck there pretty easily. Like back in May, I still had 0 followers because I wasn't making personal content. I was still working a 9 to 5 and doing overtime most days, so more like 9 to 8, which meant I didn't have enough time to actually figure out every single thing wrong with my brand to fix. So instead, I found the easiest, least time commitment, cheapest things that I could do to get my brand to the next level, which worked almost immediately. That doesn't mean if you start doing these 3 things, you're going to instantly see like double or triple your sales in the first week. But if you stay consistent on even just one of these, I'm guaranteed you're going to see better success than what you have now. That's it. That's the video. Next week, we'll talk about ads or something. Peace.